Hi, I'm Reed Holston. Welcome to CityLink Sioux Falls Directions, where we regularly sit down with the directors of the city of Sioux Falls to let you know what's going on in the individual departments. And as we tape this today, there is hope. There's 90 days away from spring hitting the city of Sioux Falls, and who better to have on our show today to talk about spring projects and development and road construction than Director of Public Works Mark Cotter. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Director of Planning and Development Services Jeff Eckhoff.
Thank you.
So with spring coming down the road here, first let's take a quick look, Jeff, back to 2019. How did we do on building permits and activity again last year?
Another very strong year. This was our fourth year in a row over $700 million in building permits, and we ended up the year about $771 million and change. So it was a very, very strong year.
And what are you looking for now in 2020?
It's really interesting. We took a look just yesterday, and right now, as it sits, of building permits that are approved and ready to be picked up, and those that are under review right now, we have over $100 million worth of permits just ready to go.
Incredible.
Already.
And in this conversation, we're going to talk about some of the activity we're going to see later on in the year. But first, let's talk to Mark. Mark, in past winters, we've had the benefit of a winter thaw in January, February. We get some high temperatures. The weather patterns don't seem that way anymore. Are you expecting that as an anomaly?
I think that was an anomaly because it's certainly looking like the rest of January is going to finish cold, and we always benefit if we can get a warm up so we can kind of melt back some of this snow, also kind of break loose the rivers. When we finished the year, the National Weather Service said, and as long as they've been collecting data, they've never had the rivers run this high this late in the season. And so anytime we get a slight warm up and release some of that water would be really beneficial.
Okay. Jeff, let's start with the quadrants of the city and the east side so far as it relates to your department. What do you have coming up for the east side this year?
Well, east is really a strong corridor right now, and as Veterans Parkway gets completed and that connection is made, and Arrowhead, we've seen a lot of things happen. Dale continues to flourish, and they had a lot of activity this year. And the great thing about that is now I think they've got enough mass there that it really starts creating other things. We're seeing a housing development on Madison and Veterans Parkway that came in this year for their preliminary subdivision plan. That's a large development, and so that growth on the east side, there's some down at all the way down Veterans Parkway. There's new development coming for this new year. So that, to Mark's point here, transportation and access opens up that land for development.
Everybody's asking for shopping and eating places. Do you have any insight, any hope for Eastsiders that are looking for that along with the development of the rooftops?
No, nothing that I can really talk about right now. But,
so there is.
But there's it's an interesting, but there's actually some new food options coming to the city that I think people will be excited about, that it will be announced in the next month or two, and it'll be kind of fun to hear those as they are unveiled.
Yeah, and some big development to the east then on the Arrowhead Parkway too. As you head obviously towards the river, there's some major developments that have been announced there.
Yes, exactly. And it's really a neat corridor, with Arrowhead, and you've got the Arboretum, and there's just it's a great corridor, and we're seeing a lot of growth in that area, and a lot of plans and discussions about future growth too.
Yeah, a lot of street activity out there, Mark.
A lot of street activity. Arrowhead Parkway is just one of these key backbones of our transportation system. We have a lot of daily commuters use it, not only for Sioux Falls, but Brandon, a lot of Northwest Iowa people come in. And so we've continually made investments to Arrowhead Parkway. One of the next sort of very visible intersections that will improve is at 6 Mile Road and on Arrowhead Parkway. That's always been a challenging intersection. It's not a 90-degree, and we've had some accidents out there. And so we're working to secure the final amount of right-of-way lands with the property owners so we can ultimately go to the market and bid that project. Our hope is to bid that project by the end of 2020.
And of course the interchange on I-90, we're all waiting for that bridge so we can take that exit and loop all the way around.
Yeah, that is, the Veterans Parkway is essentially a mirror image to 229. We've all seen what 229 has done for this city. Truly, outside of having the two interstates of I-90 and I-29, 229 has provided that backbone for all of our growth to the east. Now Veterans Parkway will provide that next backbone, and we're excited to have it. There's so many opportunities to reduce your commute time and have a safer commute once that gets in place.
And Jeff, there's so much land as you go from that bridge where it's going to connect to 90 all the way
Right.
down, ripe for development.
Right. You really have to complement the planning, the public works, and the developers who have worked together to put the right of way together, to protect that right of way so that it could be built, and then to accumulate land and get ready for development to happen. And it's just like textbook the way it's supposed to have happened. And so once that connection is completed, we'll continue to see growth, and it'll kind of probably emanate from Arrowhead Parkway to the north, and then probably from I-90 to the south, and continue to grow.
And people are always asking, and have for years, what does that mean for Brandon? And are we going to go ever closer to Brandon with that connection as well, too?
Well, and that's kind of, as communities grow, you see that in larger cities, and eventually Brandon, Harrisburg. I mean, there's some physical barriers with Brandon that'll keep us somewhat apart of the topography, but we will continue to grow towards each other, and that's just an evolution of growth.
26th Street Mark and I-229, the interchange, that is a huge project. And what do we look for that, and how soon can they get in and start working again?
Yeah, so it's probably one of our most visible projects that, when you either speak to a group or just speak to your neighbor, they, so many times they just say, wow, that is just such an amazing size project in a mature part of town. One of the key elements is that we wanted to raise the road, and so we can have the railroad go underneath the new 26th Street. The project is going really well. We've got a great general contractor, local general contractor on it. It's a cooperative project with the DOT. Some don't know that, and so it's about a $40 million investment. The DOT is generally focused on everything close to 229, and then we're focused on everything really from about Cliff Avenue Greenhouse to the east. But it's, I would expect we'll see the contractor as soon as it warms up, as early as mid-March, as probably as late as mid-April. They'll get in. The next really elements that they'll start to do is put the deck on the bridge. As you drive on that road today, you see all these large bridge beams that are up. The next thing will be to actually construct the bridge deck that we can put traffic on it, so we can start working on the north half of the road. The goal for this year was essentially, if you cut 26th Street in half, our focus this first year was on the south side. Our focus in 2020, once we get the bridge built, will be to focus on the north side.
It really is incredible how you can do half that project, and you've got that mountain on one side, and the rest is going to be done this year.
That's right.
And people are going to be grateful, too, not to have the railroad interruptions in that area once that's done.
Right, and it's such an important corridor for us, not only for people with daily commuters, but first responders. We want to make sure that there's no impediments, and we also want to interface and have a really good rail transportation system to support our industries, and so it'll be a huge step forward to separate the vehicles from the train traffic.
So are you still planning to make us all a great Christmas gift and have this all done and open by Thanksgiving, Christmas next year?
That's our intent. That's our intent. That's our intent.
Okay, very good. Let's move to the west side, Jeff.
Yes.
Tons of growth out there, too. It's been said that west of I-29 has the equivalent of Aberdeen in population, right? And it's continuing to grow exponentially.
Yes. And there's we've seen some new subdivision plans come in for new housing developments. Some that have been kind of on the books will probably start construction this year. The next big thing that we're working on together with Public Works is opening up the next sewer basin, especially kind of towards the south or south of 26 and west, and opening up that area because there's a great demand out there.
An incredible amount of construction going on there too. With Jefferson High School is being built out there, and
of course schools are huge drivers of development, services, residential, and all that comes with that.
And with that has to come roads.
Right. I mean, I think we really compliment the school board for their due diligence that they did, and then ultimately citing that location. That's in a growing part of the city of Sioux Falls, but it's still, I would consider, kind of in our mature area. So there's a lot of our infrastructure is already there, which really complements the transportation system. We will be improving that road that's on Marion Road in front of the school from a rural road to a 4-lane arterial street. But the nice thing about that is just with all the growth and development up there, whether it's STIs, all their students, the George McGovern Middle School that's just got built a few years ago that's a little bit farther west of there. Foundation Park is to the north. Discovery District is to the north. improving that 1 mile of road isn't just for the high school. It'll really complement that entire system up there. We want to make sure we're responsive to the school, but also make sure that those high schoolers that are driving every day actually can go to and from school and do it safely.
Jeff, how do you interact with Mark and his department as engineers in coordinating all of this? Because you're developing, and there has to be roads to serve this.
Oh yeah, there's not a
How
day
does it work?
There's not a day that goes by that we're not interacting with somebody on Mark's staff, because absolutely it's tied together. And as I get further into my tenure, it's more and more that we just drop in and say, hey, what about this and what about that? And it's critical that they work together. And so that co-location obviously happened before me, but that co-location within City Center, it's just been great to have everybody on the same roof. Makes it much easier to collaborate and team up quickly and sit in on meetings quickly. And it's just, the communication is excellent because of that.
Well, and I think too, you started out today by saying it's mid-January, and there's already $100 million worth of permits that are ready. Well, that's work outside the public's right of way. And so all that development is going to have more parking lots, more rooftops, which also means more traffic trips. Mm-hmm. And so the two teams have to be talking on a very routine basis. And then there's these big discussions of when a high school gets planned. Then we always know wherever a school goes, that is the catalyst for even more development in that area. So it's an exciting time for the city of Sioux Falls, and to be at mid-December or mid-January and already have almost $100 million worth of permits ready to go for new rooftops, that's amazing.
It is incredible. Mm-hmm. The timing of these roads, though, when these major projects come through, I mean, you obviously collaborate together, but when do you put the roads in? Is it ahead of construction? Is it while construction's happening? Well, because that's been debated for years here in the city.
It has
as well,
been,
too.
and it's also a financial discussion because, one of the things that's unique to the city of Sioux Falls is that we're growing on, we're not just growing. Many cities are just growing on the east side or the south side or the west side. We're growing on, with Foundation Park on all four sides of the city, and so it takes a lot of resources. And then not only is it roads, then you got to complement it with parks, fire stations. There's a lot of work that Jeff and his team do to pull all the departments together to ultimately source those. But when the school district was looking at multiple sites and then ultimately picked one and then really had to go to work and get that school built, we had to kind of reprioritize and make sure that we're there, that the road system is there to make sure we can give those teachers and school kids a good, safe route to school.
Let's skirt up a little bit farther to the north, Jeff, on the northwest side, kind of, it's called the Discovery District.
Yes.
Plenty happening there, too.
Yes. Of course, they continue to have making in place for the bioscience with SAB and all the work that's going on up there. We hope that they will reach that and start that construction this year. We've been in discussions with them. They're looking at another large project that would take a big piece of their campus that ties to the research as well. And so it's just really an exciting project because of the nature of the new industry and the types of jobs and the types of industry that would go into that area.
Mm-hmm. And then USD and SDSU and DSU and the switch to the community college concept is an important part of that area too.
Workforce continues to be a big issue for us, Reed, and with the community college of Sioux Falls, we just heard a report from Bob Griggs, the president of Southeast Tech. They saw over 8% growth last year in their headcount of people, and so that there's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of demand in that area. And as students go and live and work up there, it also creates rooftops as well. So it all works together. That transportation back and forth, all that has to connect.
Yeah, and businesses follow shortly thereafter, as we've had a lot of development then north of I-90. Marion Road extended there too. So there's an example where you extended roads ahead of some development.
That's right. We brought a new modern Marion Road up there to support Foundation Park, and also put a large wastewater pump station so we could collect and transport that wastewater. All the bones are now in place for Foundation Park to just thrive. They've already had great success with Windchill, Nordica's warehouse, and others that are currently building. And so I think the future for Foundation Park, with it also having rail access and connected to I-90 and I-29, it's going to be a true jewel for the city of Sioux Falls and really all the surrounding communities that can be the places where people live and work there.
All right, thank you. We're going to take a break. When we come back, there's lots more to talk about in areas of the city of Sioux Falls, including exciting things that are going to be happening in downtown Sioux Falls when we come back.
The City of Sioux Falls has an easy way for you to help your community. Simply download the City of Sioux Falls mobile app. The app can be used to ask a question or to report a variety of nuisances like potholes, graffiti, streetlights not working, abandoned vehicles, and more. You can even upload a photo with your report. Every report is immediately routed to the appropriate team so they can quickly respond. In addition to tracking your reports, the app allows you to view reports submitted by other users and learn when they've been resolved. Go to the App Store or Google Play stores and download the City of Sioux Falls app today.
Welcome back to Sioux Falls Directions. We're talking to Mark Cotter, Director of Public Works, and Jeff Eckhoff, Director of Planning and Development Services, about what you can expect to see as 2020 gets going here after things thaw out. So Jeff, let's talk about Southwest Sioux Falls now.
Okay.
Lake Lorraine.
Oh, yes.
Incredible how that's changed
Isn't that
over the years,
incredible
and there's
development?
more coming.
Yeah, so of course everybody knows we have Dave and Buster's that are going to finish up and open this year, and that's going to be fun. That's going to be an exciting venue. You know, and those types of things, when people come travel from other places, they look at that, they recognize it, you know, and it kind of gives you some next level of credibility, if you will. And then they've got a hotel project that's coming in this year that's going to start construction, and so that development just continues to build upon the inertia that's out there. It's wonderful.
And a big deal on the land where Sioux Falls Ford used to be in front of the Empire Mall.
Yes.
Lots of development coming
Yeah,
there.
that's exciting. We have not seen a preliminary plan yet, but we have had some stuff come in from different businesses that are going to be in there. If you talk to the commercial brokers that are looking at retail or services, the first thing they always ask when they come to town is there land available by the mall? And now there's going to be this wonderful development that can be kind of built up from scratch and planned, and so it's going to be a great complement to what's going on out there.
Look forward to seeing that happen.
And some exciting things and some names that people will recognize
you know,
when the time comes.
You know what they are, don't you? You've been told, I'm sure, by a lot of people, and they're expecting certain
Fun
brands.
stuff.
Yeah,
Fun
exactly.
stuff.
So we'll look forward to that. Again, lots of road construction out there. What are kind of the major arterial things? Last year was 69th Street. You're looking at 57th, maybe 85th this year?
Yeah, so 57th Street's one of those key corridors that goes across the city, and we've made a lot of investments to it over time. And the one segment that a lot of people ask us to invest in is that section between Minnesota Avenue and Western Avenue. It's tired, and so it's time to rehabilitate it. And so this is the year that section will come. And really, as you drive through and across the city on 57th Street, it's a great commuter route. And once we get this last section done, and it's a relatively fast project because both intersections on that bookmark, those ends of 57th Street are already built. And so it'll be a nice improvement for us to make. The other one that's just essentially north of there is 41st and Western. And that's one of those key corridors on 41st Street where we've already got a substantial amount of traffic, that each year we've got to pick about one key arterial intersection, and it becomes that one this year. We've been planning it with the DOT for a few years. But that's an intersection at the intersection of 41st and Western that we've seen a substantial amount of auto crashes there. And so we wanted to really take a step back. Usually what that means is we need to add capacity. We really need to focus on how do we more efficiently move traffic through an intersection. And so we worked with all 4 landowners on every corner. We're able to purchase additional land so we could build more lanes. And in 2020, we're finally going to make that a really nice, safe, modern intersection.
So you suggest finding an alternate route because that's going to be a huge, huge project.
Yes, please do. We do have a very good, strong local contractor that has the resources to get in there and do it, but it will be multiple phases so we can actually do the utility work underneath and then ultimately do the pavement work on top.
And Jeff, that area continues to rehabilitate from our unfortunate tornado situation late in 2019.
Yeah.
You may see some different development, rebuilding of properties there.
Right. Yeah, it's been interesting to if you kind of follow a couple of those people on Facebook and the fact that the commitment they've made to rebuild and redevelop and the commitment they've made to their employees, it says a lot about the business people in Sioux Falls, the community, and the culture we have here.
And we have opportunities that some people actually take properties, tear down, and build something new as well too. It's possible in the future.
Exactly.
All right. Let's go downtown. Downtown's an exciting place. Downtown has changed and morphed, especially over the last 10 years or so.
Yeah.
What exciting things are coming downtown this year?
Downtown's quite a story. I've lived in Sioux Falls now for over 25 years, and where it was then and where it is today is really a tribute to past leaders, councils, people in Mark's department, and Mark himself and his position. It's just, I think we're at this great point now, and all this work that's been done to prep is paying off. I mean, we're starting to see some things. So, of course, we know there's rail yard flats that Jefferson is doing. It's a mixed-use office, retail, apartments. That's about a $14 million project. That'll be next to the East Bank development that the Howell family is doing. And those two combined, actually across the street from 8th and Railroad, really create some energy in that 8th Street corridor and take us another step to the east and really start to develop that. And so, and Mark will talk in a little bit about the 8th Street Bridge. It's just going to be a fantastic area. And of course, the big thing in the news is the Sioux Steel redevelopment. $186 million development with a hotel, a conference center, an office tower, and then a parking ramp. And it really checks off all the dots. Density, walkability, the things that we've always envisioned downtown could be. It's next to the Levitt. It's just going to leverage so much energy down there that's going on now. It's really transformational. We're very, very excited about it.
What steps need to be taken for that to become a reality and dirt to be moved?
Okay, so actually we in a couple weeks we'll be taking it to the council for the first reading of the TIF. That is to encourage the vertical, the density for parking, because without that, then it becomes flat space and we lose opportunities. There would certainly be something there, but it wouldn't be to the same level. It wouldn't meet our goals of density. It would decrease some of the walkability and connectivity. Mm-hmm. So the TIF comes through. They put their with that piece finished, which will be hopefully in February. Then they'll proceed with the rest of their financing. They can proceed with their full-blown plan. Their intent is to hopefully move this. There's some easements and things we have to work out, and because of the river, there's the River Greenway, all that ties together. But they're actually hoping to move dirt then probably late summer, early fall of this year.
For those that don't know, if you could just explain for just a second what a TIF is.
Oh, okay, very good. So what a TIF is, it's a way for to take the risk off the city and for the developer to use their property tax increment, the amount and the improvements that they're building to help pay for public types of improvements, which are infrastructure, parking, and those types of things. It's a great example of a public-private partnership where we use our mechanism. They take the risk, they do the financing of it, and then once it's all done, there's a great amount of increased tax revenue that comes back to the different taxing entities. And so really it's just using the taxes they're paying. The misconception is they're not paying taxes, but they are. It's just taking those taxes and targeting it towards the development that the city wants to see happen.
And an investment in the future for
Absolutely.
Future tax revenue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So, our historic 8th Street Bridge.
Yes.
It's been around for 100 plus years and needs some help.
It needs some help. We first did the history of it, and it's actually the third bridge that's been in that location. The current bridge was built in 1912, and so we're fortunate that it was rehabilitated once in the 1970s by a local company, and now we're to the point where we did a full evaluation to see, could we do a rehabilitation, or do we need to actually take it down and build a new modern building or bridge? And so we brought in an expert, hired a bridge design team, and ultimately they said that this is probably one of the better quality arch bridges to rehabilitate that they've seen across the country. So we went down the path from a cost-saving standpoint and from a historical standpoint to rehabilitate the bridge, and it's going to be a true jewel in our downtown. We expect to get another 50 to 75 years out of it. And some of the things you're going to see is, today if you walk across the bridge, it's got fairly narrow sidewalks. Those sidewalks are going to get much larger. We've got so much just great pedestrian activity downtown, and so we're going to complement that on the bridge. The lighting above the bridge will be historical in nature, and new balustrades that'll be put along the side. And in some areas where you see an LED light kind of built into the bottom of the handrail will be put in to actually wash all those new balustrades. And then last, when you go up to Minneapolis and you'll see the arch bridge that they've taken LED lights and washed the arches, we'll be putting in a package like that as well, that you can not only just have white lights, but you'll be able to change the color of those lights. And so we're really excited for this. We've spent about 2 years on design. We had the pre-bid meeting this week. We'll bid the project at the end of January, and then ultimately, we expect it'll be a full year of construction to rehabilitate that unique bridge.
And we'll look forward to that.
Yes.
We appreciate it. Jeff Eckhoff, thank you for your time. Mark Cotter as
Thank
well,
you.
too.
Thanks, Reed.
All right, have a good 2020.
Thank
We
you.
will. Thank
too.
you.
We look forward to you and your team's work. And if you'd like to track that work, it's easy to do on SiouxFalls.org. Just head out to SiouxFalls.org, click on Public Works or Planning and Development Services, and I'm sure there's going to be the usual webcams up
Yes.
during the season as well, too, so you can keep track of things. We appreciate you watching CityLink and Sioux Falls Directions. I'm Reed Holson. We'll see you next time.